aerospace and defense manufacturing,
machines and automation,
additive manufacturing,
smart manufacturing,
global manufacturing economy.
Welcome to Advanced Manufacturing Now, the podcast for manufacturing professionals, powered by SME. From the design screen to the shop floor to final assembly, we drive the conversation about making manufacturing smarter by connecting people who are passionate about manufacturing.
Hello, and welcome to Advanced Manufacturing Now, the podcast for manufacturing professionals. Don't forget to like and subscribe to new episodes delivered to your feed each week. I'm your host, Steve Plum, Editor-in-Chief for SME Media. I'm joined today by Robbie Komilyanovich and Haley Cresson, who are part of the SME Bright Minds Student Mentorship Program, which was launched 2 years ago as a partnership between SME Membership and SME Education Foundation for SME Education Foundation scholarship recipients. Robbie is the former operating board member of the CETA, which specializes in automation solution, and Haley is a second-year mechanical engineering student at the Colorado School of Mines. So welcome to the program, and thanks for joining us, both of you. I was wondering, to start with, could each of you tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you got involved in the program? Robbie, let's start with you.
Sure. Hey, Steve. Hey, Haley. Thanks for having me on this. Always happy to talk about my past and how I'm involved in the Bright Minds program as well as the educational foundation of SME. So originally born and raised in Germany, came with a technical education to the United States and worked mostly in the machine tool industry, which then about 8 years ago translated into automation. Since that is going to be growing for many, many years to come. I thought that was a great opportunity to do that. As I mentioned briefly, I'm also the vice president of the board of the Educational Foundation. So that's how I got involved into the Bright Minds program and met Haley almost 2 years ago now.
Hey, Steve. Hey, Robbie. Thank you so much for having me as well. It's been a pleasure to get to meet both of you guys and get to know you guys better. I guess how I got started with SME Bright Minds Scholarship was I was always looking at engineering, even from a young age. I loved building stuff with my dad, and I would often build Lego sets, brick towers, and just a lot of models with him. And it was really enjoyable. And so I thought about engineering, I think around 6th grade, and then I started pursuing that through internships and extracurricular activities. I taught myself a lot of CAD and programs like Fusion 360 and SolidWorks. I know how to use mostly because I taught myself, and one of the internships I had taught me a lot more about SolidWorks, which is absolutely amazing. And so as I came to college, I was looking more for a program that would show me how to use mechanical engineering in a practical application, and SME came up because it uses manufacturing as a real-world application of mechanical engineering. And so I applied and then thankfully got into the Bright Minds Scholarship Program, which has been awesome to be a part of.
Well, obviously, you're a very accomplished student and probably further along than a lot of students in terms of attending science fairs and camps, and you mentioned internships. What made you think that you needed or wanted a mentor?
I think it's always been a blessing for me to hear from other people's perspectives how to improve myself. And I think a lot of my improvement over time has come from a lot of people pouring out into me, which I really appreciate. So just getting to learn from others has been a massive part of why I'm here, honestly. And just a lot of people very kindly gave me advice and just guided me through some life circumstances, some educational circumstances. And together those two things kind of made me want to join a mentorship program where I knew I just get to learn from someone in industry who had a lot of experience working and getting internships and getting jobs as well.
Let's talk about how the two of you got paired up together, what that process was like, and what the first meeting was like between the two of you. Did you set some goals? Did you have some preconceived notions going into it?
I think for me, it was more of a chance and an opportunity to get to meet Robbie and get to know him really well. most of our first call was spent just getting to know each other, getting to know more about what we were doing at the time, and where we had been in the past, and then where we were looking to go in the future. And I think it was pretty amazing. And then we kind of from there set up some goals of, I think we want to meet about once a month, and then probably for an hour, maybe a half an hour, maybe an hour and a half, depending on what we wanted to talk about. And then some of the goals that I kind of brought to Robbie, I think maybe in the second half of the first meeting was about maybe getting some internships or just like how to manage certain skills better at college, especially time management, which I struggle a lot with.
So, Robbie, I know you've been involved with the Education Foundation and obviously young engineers throughout your career, but had you ever been involved in a formal mentorship program, and what attracted you to this?
Yeah, not really formal, but I feel like throughout my career, I've always been mentored and mentored others along in their on their journey, and I always find a lot of just like Haley, very grateful for mentors I've had in my life, and I find it very rewarding mentoring others. And so, as you can imagine, as president CEO, there's a lot going on. You're trying to manage, but if you can take managing into mentoring, you'll be way more successful. And that's kind of my history of mentoring. The SME mentorship program that is really the first formal introduction I have to such an organized process, which is really cool. I'm really happy that Sidra and others are managing that process and helping us align things. And then, of course, meeting Haley, it was first couple times we got to know each other, and I think some of the nerves were settled down, and we get to know each other, and we were all humans, and once we got to that comfort level, it was just super cruising.
So were you still in high school when you first connected, or did you already had started college at that?
Josh is already in college.
Already in college, okay. So and you meet every other month together, and then the off months you meet with the program manager?
We try to meet once a month, and depending on travel and schedules and things like that. As she said, sometimes it's 30 minutes, sometimes it's an hour and a half. It just depends on what we're trying to tackle at the time. And then we, of course, have a check-in with our organizer. I don't know, Haley, how often you have a check-in. We do it usually every couple months, and then we have a social between all the mentors, and that is always a lot of fun to compare notes and how's your mentee progressing and things like that. It's really cool. How's it on your end, Haley?
On my end, it kind of looks like checking in with our program manager, Sandy. So I check in with her, I think every other month at the very minimum. And then she's always open. I love her openness about being willing to meet anytime I want to chat. But at the minimum, once every other month. And then I also have mentee socials. And so the next one is coming up in a little bit. So I'm very excited for that.
So do you typically set an agenda ahead of time, or is it more informal? And, what are some of the things that you mentioned time management? I know before when we talked to you mentioned stress and helping out with classes, picking classes, and looking at internships. What are those the type of things that you typically discuss?
Yeah. Usually we try to go back to what have we set out as goals last time, then we review it, and then we talk about how can I be helpful for this meeting. And all depends on what's going on in Haley's life. When internships get a little hotter, then in our session, actually we have a session tomorrow, we're going to talk about the companies that she was looking at to intern and to just have some behind the scenes look. Some of them I know well, some of them I don't. So that'd be easily an hour discussion tomorrow.
So Haley, what's it like to be a college student these days? You started right after the height of COVID. Was it what you expected, or?
I don't know. It wasn't quite what I expected. I think I'm really grateful that COVID happened when I was in high school, because it didn't affect too much of college by the time that I got there. Most of everything was settling down my year. And honestly, it's really fun. I love a college campus just because I think mine is really special. Everyone's so focused on their major and their classes, but they also have so many things that they do outside of school. Everyone's typically involved in 3 to 4 different things outside of school. I personally am involved with Oaks International and Ultimate Frisbee and a couple other things outside of school. And so it's really fun to just get to meet people who are as passionate as you are, and then just get to share what you're doing in your life and just get to know people about it. I think that's been pretty amazing for me.
So it sounds like you might be a future mentor of Ultimate Frisbee to Robbie.
That'd be great.
So what have been some of the challenges, both in college life overall and just working in the program and scheduling these meetings and moving forward?
From my side, it's the challenges I would say is just to align schedules. Haley has a busy schedule. I have a busy schedule. And just kind of, we put something on the calendar, something comes in between, whether it's my flight is delayed, I can't, dial in at that moment or whatever. But the good side of that is the flexibility that we both bring forward. And we're just like, hey, no problem. How about let's connect in a couple hours or tomorrow? Or and you got to be respectful of the schedule of of a busy student. It's sometimes we forget. For me, it's been a long time, so it's easy to forget that, hey, other people have schedules too. So
yeah, I think it's been really good for me to learn how to schedule something work-wise, and just look at a schedule that's not a school schedule too. Like that's been a huge learning curve for me, and it's been really good.
So I was looking at your original application for the scholarship, and you were talking about being a dual major, mechanical and electrical, and with a focus on additive and going on immediately to master's. Have any of those plans changed, and how has being working with Robbie helped you to become more flexible, perhaps, and looking at your plans?
Yeah, I think some of them have changed a lot. I think I was over ambitious when I came to mines and like, oh, I can definitely double major, and that's not the case at all. I'm currently looking at a different minor, which is a metallurgical and materials minor, which I think might align more closely with mechanical engineering. And based on what Robbie's doing and looking at certain aspects of tooling, sometimes they're determined by the composites that the tools are made out of. And so I think that would be a slightly wiser track to go forward with. I'm still looking at additive manufacturing as a master's degree because I'm so excited about additive manufacturing. I am very passionate about that. And so that's something that I definitely want to stick with. And I think Robbie's perspective has really helped shift what I can practically use this for. I think I struggled to see where I would fit into the workforce with those degrees because I'm just not sure what opportunities are out there. So I think Robbie's direction and just his sharing of experience has been really helpful.
Well, thank you. Yeah, if I can add to that, one of the things we also went through and talked about is I would forward job descriptions, like real life job descriptions that we and other manufacturers are hiring for. And I think that's helpful for students that are trying to figure out this there's a passion for something. How do I translate that into a career? Who's the right target company? What are the kind of classes I need for jobs that are actually out there? And that was also a good 3 meetings that we had.
So you obviously come from different backgrounds, but at the same time, you're both were mechanical engineering majors. How has that affected and helped you? Being that he has had the same major and some of the same experiences, but also the diversity of his experiences.
That's a good question. I would say we both had very early on passions in manufacturing. For me, I was 12 years old when I, touched my first machine tool, and Haley also early on had experiences with machining, and so I think that we have that common. Certainly, my education path was in Germany, so it's a little bit different. The whole school system is set up differently. That's also why I'm at the Educational Foundation, because I believe that, and also on the scholarship committee, because I want as many students to be able to afford a STEM education. Going to Germany, it's for free. So and so, as you know, Germany is known as an engineering powerhouse. So if we in the Educational Foundation can help with that here with STEM education, that's what I want to do. And so, Haley's path was slightly different, but not that far off, actually.
Yeah, I think it's been really inspiring to see how hard Robbie's worked to get where he is as well. And just to see how hard work truly does pay off. And just see that you can actually do something that you love to do. Because I don't know, I think I've talked to some adults who kind of don't necessarily enjoy what they do. And it was hard to see that and be like, I'm so passionate about this one thing. And I really would love to enjoy what I do for my job. And so I think that's been a really good perspective to learn as well.
Right, Haley, in the brief time that I've talked to you, I can tell you're very passionate about certain things. Being a self-starter, teaching yourself CAD, but as throughout your careers, and sometimes in school too, where you can get burned out easily or lose focus. And I know last time we talked about, Robbie, you mentioned about helping keep that passion, and what do you do to maintain that throughout the year, and what advice can you give on that end?
To see someone that's passionate about something, in this case, we're blessed that it's STEM, is something very cool and unique. I can't tell you how many kids I talk to that are just like, well, I'm just going to go to college. I don't know exactly what's going to come out of it. I'm probably going to change my major 16 times. And, when you meet Haley, you can immediately see the passion and the focus. Now, within that, there's always going to be some pivoting. That's normal in life. And but she has a clear passion to get to the end goal, which is being an engineer in manufacturing and likely in 3D printing. And I'm trying to sprinkle some automation in there as well. But that's encouraging throughout the year, just to see someone that's really into it and is not just like, hey, I'm a student because my parents told me to go to university, right? So that is, I'm very lucky that way. And so when it was time to re-up and I was asked, would you like to connect with Haley again? There was a very quick yes.
Yeah, I think I kind of laughed when I got that question, because I was like, I don't see why not. I'd love to.
So what's been some of the best advice that Robbie's given you?
I think some of his advice about time management has helped me a ton. I was really struggling with a lot of time management stuff freshman year. I think I was learning that I do not really handle a lax schedule very well. I like to be a person who's pretty busy most of the time, but that way it forces me to get the job done. And I was trying to figure out how to balance that with, how do I spend time with friends? How do I do my schoolwork well? How do I work while I'm in college? And then Robbie had me do a time study, which is really helpful in figuring out where my time is going. So I was learning that, oh my gosh, I spend about 10 hours working out or doing Frisbee or just something active, but just because I really enjoy it. But then I learned to dial some of that back and then focus on other homework more than some of the stuff that I was currently focusing on. And it was really good. It showed me a lot of how I could schedule my time better. And the effects of it are like so widespread that I'm trying to do a lot better time management this semester too, which is, I guess, almost a year later. And it's been really good. And I've been able to schedule out time for certain classes and just have certain cutoff times. And it's been really, really good. And so I'm really glad that we went over that together.
So Robbie, most of the focus is on the mentor helping the mentee and guiding them, but I imagine there's also some benefits for you. You were interacting with younger next generation future of manufacturing. How has that affected you?
Yeah, it's tremendous to work that close with the next gen STEM engineer. Typically I start interacting with them when they graduate out of university, and we look at hiring them. But to be part of that process is very gratifying, and I definitely encourage anyone and everyone to at least apply for the mentorship program. And I've already talked to a couple of my friends in the industry, and they're excited about it. And so when the time is right, they're gonna apply to be a mentor as well. And I just really enjoy seeing the progress and the growth. And so we'll definitely do this again next year.
Yeah, definitely.
So, Haley, do you get a chance to interact with other people in the program, other mentees?
Unfortunately, I haven't had too much time as of late, just because my class schedule is usually right on top of when the mentee social hours are. But it's been really good, and I had a chat at the very beginning of the year. That was, I think Yolanda Carr was sharing about her experience in the industry and just how mentorship has changed her perspective. And I met some of the other mentees during that hour, and that was really special for me.
So would you recommend this to other high school students coming up?
Absolutely. I think it has definitely been one of the things that has grown me the most. And I'm so glad I got involved with this program, because you learn so much from it, and yet you can still, it's not unreachable. It's very helpful, very practical advice. And just getting to see someone in industry and walk alongside with them and just learn from what they've done and where they've been and where they're going has been absolutely amazing. So I would definitely recommend this to anyone who's even looking at it. Just go ahead and apply. It's not super hard, and then just see where it takes you.
So you're halfway through your sophomore year. What's next for the rest of the school year and then the summer?
I think staying focused on my classes is probably just what's next for the school year. I think this season, this semester's ultimate frisbees, like technically in season, which I'm really excited about. So it should be some really good time, just getting to know other people better on the frisbee team. And so I'm really excited about that.
All right. Well, Robbie and Haley, thanks again for joining us today, and good luck on your continued success as part of the mentorship program, as well as in Ultimate Frisbee. And for more information, listeners can visit the Bright Minds Mentorship Program section on sme.org. And to learn more about the latest manufacturing trends and hear more of our podcast, visit advancedmanufacturing.org and be sure to like and subscribe to our feed.